Happy Friday, and welcome here to another edition of Husker Online Headlines. Sean Callahan, Steve Sipple here, and we're brought to you by our title sponsor of StayHome.Care. They offer many of the same types of personalized care you might find in a nursing home, right in the comfort of your home. Whether your loved one is young or old or living with a disability, recovering from surgery, or just simply needs extra help when they're sick, StayHome.Care provides consistent, compassionate support from personal care and companionship to daily tasks like laundry, meal prep, and assistance with appointments or outings. We're here when your loved ones need you and you can't be there. Go to StayHome.Care to learn more. That's .care, not .com. Again, you can learn more at StayHome.Care or call 402-205-2233. Our heart is with you because we put our heart into everything we do. Your home, our care. StayHome.Care. But we got a great show lined up today, Sipple. No football this weekend, for us at least.
No, here we are now, the first Friday after the regular season, and we're just ripping through shows. Just take a deep breath now and try to understand what's going on. We haven't really been able to rest.
It goes into, we call it knife fighting season.
Yeah.
Where you're not over there in daily press conference mode. You actually have to go out and knife fight for your information and find it.
Yeah. So, and it's been, God dang, busy week.
And you're a skilled knife fighter.
For the most part. I'm aging knife fighter.
Aging knife fighter.
But anyway, yeah, we've got a lot to talk about. And we're settled into, I think our listeners should know, we're settled now into Monday, Wednesday, Friday mode.
Yeah. And it will probably change. I haven't looked that far ahead, like how we're going to do the shows in Las Vegas.
Oh, yes.
Well, it's not official, but we think it's Vegas. And, we're working with Zipline to try to set up a potential show out there as well. And I don't know. So there's some things that will get worked out for later in the month. But for the most part, we'll be on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Other than the holiday weeks, we might claw back a show or something.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So everybody kind of has to adjust a little bit, but shouldn't be that hard.
No, it's better.
Yeah.
It's better. Our numbers have been great this past week. So, let's get into headlines. Headline number one, Emmett Johnson reaps rewards of a monster season. Emmett Johnson was named the Big Ten's running back of the year. Obviously a first team all-conference selection. Nebraska's first team all-Big Ten offensive player since Austin Allen. He's the first Husker running back to win this award in the 15-year history of Nebraska in the Big Ten. Amir Abdullah never won this award. Rex Burkhead never won this award. So it really does put in perspective the year that Emmett Johnson had. He led in pretty much every major category in terms of yards, all-purpose yards, conference rush yards, you name it. Emmett Johnson was one of the best in the Big Ten. It's going to be interesting now, though, to see where he falls, Sipple, on some of these All-American teams.
Yeah, the competition for that is obviously really, really stout. It's interesting, but I don't like, if he doesn't make them, it doesn't detract from what he did, which is lead the Big Ten in rushing. My God, the man led the Big Ten in rushing, which, since we're sort of honoring him here, neither you nor I would have even come close to predicting that.
Well, he was like the third or fourth running back a year ago, going into the year.
Yeah.
Because you had Dante Dowdell, you had Ramir Johnson, you had Gabe Urban Jr.
Yeah, in-house they saw it, though. Because you remember, you go back now and you think about Dana Holgerson's comments. What would you say going back to spring? Going back to August for sure, when he would say things like, Emmett's just Emmett. Emmett's just Emmett. And we'd all be a little kind of skeptical, right? Like, what do you mean Emmett's just Emmett? He hasn't done that much here. But they saw it. They saw him practice what we saw in games.
I think the challenge with running backs is during this practice structure, you're not able to really turn them loose full.
Right.
And so I do think it would be hard in today's world of college football to fully evaluate what you have at running back just because you don't always, tackle or take to the ground.
But that's when you really watch those scrimmages, right?
The 2 or 3, but if your reps are limited?
Yeah.
And so what we learned was once Emmett Johnson got a full plate of reps, and that was a full plate this year, it's a difference maker.
Yeah, and it started right away. Against Cincinnati, he came out of the gate really strong and he looked good. He looked better for sure. Remember, we had that discussion. Man, Emmett looks better. And then he just kept kind of getting better. And then he peaked in the month of November, which that's what I'm always going to remember about Emmett. We covered this the other day, but it bears repeating. He led the country in yards from scrimmage in November. I can't emphasize that enough. He led the country in yards for scrimmage in November. His 802 yards from scrimmage were the most by a Husker. Were the most by a Husker in the month of November in at least 30 years. The man had a monster season. I mean, that's what he did. And when you do that in November, that tells me about everything I need to know.
He had 36 runs of 10 plus yards on the year. So
I don't know, where's that stack up with other guys? What's that number mean?
So Antoine Raymond and him were tied in the Big Ten with 36. Jeremiah Love, who's considered the best running back right now in college football from Notre Dame, is 39.
Okay.
Okay. Ahmad Hardy, who's also a finalist for Doak Walker, has 40.
So Emmett's right there with those guys.
You know, Arkansas had a guy that didn't have 1,000 yards, but he had 41 10-plus yard runs on 113 attempts.
I need to get him more attempts.
Oh, that's their quarterback.
Okay.
I apologize. That's not the running back. That's their. But
yeah, they got he's a big dude. I don't know if they list his measurements there, but he's a big dude.
Yeah, Emmett was tied for 6th nationally in terms of 10-plus yard runs by running backs.
That's pretty good.
So it does put some metrics in there. He made a lot of tacklers miss too, and I think that's what really jumped out to me. He made 68 tacklers miss, which is good for 6th in the country for running backs as well. Ahmad Hardy would be 3rd. Kewan Lacey's ahead of him, 88 missed tacklers. So that was another big part of his success. Emmett Johnson had a lot of yards after contact, 741 of them, and he made 68 tacklers miss.
And we're giving Ron Brown quite a bit of credit for this get and Jared Lambrick. Right?
Yeah, so Jared Lamprick on the Frost staff, well, he was at that point with the collective, had a connection out in Minnesota that knew about Emmett, and they had fired Ryan Held at that point. They had made a move, and they didn't have a running back, and so
in the class
they had he'd been on the radar, but Emmett was going to FCS. He wasn't going Power 4.
Right, kind of lightly recruited.
And Ron Brown was coaching the running backs for like that final month or two. And then that's how they went out and found Emmett.
Emmett just is a testament to development. So it's a great story.
Third most carries in the country for running backs.
And that's it. He's also a testament to conditioning and staying power. That's what impresses me more than anything about him. I've said it a million times. I don't need to elaborate. His staying power showed in the month of November. But I think you got to give E.J. Barthel some credit here. I know he doesn't. Barthel's kind of quietly entrenched himself as a key member of the staff. He's got that. He's done a good job in Chicago with Trey Taylor and Claude Mpuma, and I think you have to give him some credit for Emmett. I do. People don't want to. I don't understand that conversation necessarily. Like, well, you got to give Emmett he's coached up. Somebody did a good job with him, and I'd say it's Barthel.
Oh, yeah, and the other really impressive thing about Emmett's year, just one fumble.
Oh, God, how did I not mention that in that story?
251 carries, one fumble.
Oh, damn it. Damn it. Didn't you edit my story?
That's what happens. Professional, amateur.
I needed to put that. How many carries?
251 rushing attempts, one fumble.
It's the best stat of all.
And we all remember the fumble. It was a jarring sideways hit in the Houston Christian game.
At the goal line.
And so at the context of that fumble wasn't a significant fumble in the season.
No
fumbles, Stephen M. Sipple, in 10 Power 4 games.
That is remarkable. Thanks for mentioning that. I'm glad you mentioned it. That needed to be mentioned.
It's really hard to track that stat, but it'd be interesting to see where that would rank in terms of like not fumbling it in conference play, because that's got to be. He didn't fumble it once in conference.
That's rare. That's rare. That's got to be pretty rare, right?
I mean, Amon and Lawrence and Phillips and some of these guys, obviously, but they had some fumble problems because of the way they ran that offense. When they ran the option pitch, there would be a lot of fumbles.
I don't remember Lawrence ever fumbled much,
but there would be games in the Solich and even Osborne era where if a pitch was off, the ball would go on the turf.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they'd count that to the quarterback or the running back, but they're the nature of the option led to the ball hitting the ground. May not lead to lost fumbles.
No, you're 100% right. But whatever. That's remarkable.
Is he done? I mean, that's the question now.
Yeah, now that's the question.
We'll know, I would think, Monday.
Because they start practice Monday. So he's got to decide if he's going to go out there. He doesn't have to decide by Monday. Here's the thing. Rhule mentioned it the other day. If you go back and listen to what Rhule said about that whole situation, it's changed, Sean. That conversation's changed from a few years ago because why? Because he can get guaranteed money from
Guaranteed money, yeah. And
a lot of it.
Fourth round NFL money, like top end signing bonus, fourth round is $1 million.
And he can get $1 million from Nebraska.
I mean, there aren't a lot of running backs in college football at that level, but his productivity would suggest
he's $1 million player because he'd be the best player.
Like 600,000 was considered kind of top market running back number, and that's what Kentucky gave to Dante Dowdell supposedly.
Jeez, yeah,
and that worked out for everybody.
This would be the best player on offense for Nebraska, and wouldn't you say he's the best player on the team?
Yeah, you would need some money to free up though to just come up with that money. That's the thing, like, and that's where Pat Stewart has to kind of move around the money.
Yeah, this is going to get interesting. All right,
well, let's take it to headline number 2. Again, we're brought to you by StayHome.Care, our title sponsor. Call them at 402-205-2233. We're also brought to you by Ridge. Ridge makes unbelievable wallets, credit-sized card wallets that travel with you, go everywhere you go. Put them in your front pocket. I know when I travel, I love the Ridge wallet because you could really condense all your cards into a very secure, safe wallet right in your front pocket. But they also have trackers now. They have a card that you can put in your Ridge wallet that will connect to your iPhone, and it will tell you where your wallet's at.
I'll be damned.
So you probably really need that.
Yeah, I do.
But not only wallets at Ridge, luggage, elite luggage. I'm talking like this stuff is practically bulletproof.
Could need that. It's getting crazy out there.
But yeah, they've got their Black Friday deal still rolling. Cyber Monday, Black Friday specials, a lot of discounts on this luggage. It is the best stuff you're going to find out there. Good Christmas gift. Everyone needs a husband or some spouse. Say, hey, she needs a new suitcase. We're going to go on a trip. Get on Ridge. If it's already not discounted, we can get you another discount. Just use the code ridge.com/Husker. Type in that promo code Husker, and if there's any more discounts that aren't already on the items, they'll take that off for you as well. Again, go to ridge.com/Husker. All right, headline 2, bowl prep begins Monday, and we kind of teased this already. A lot of things on my mind with bowl practices. It is going to be more of a kind of banker's hour schedule for Nebraska because the coaches are home. They're not on the road. So they're not going to have to burn it on both ends and have a lot of weekend practices. There's no recruit. Another reason back in the day you would have weekend practices is because you'd bring in recruits on the weekend and you'd want them to see practice.
Sure.
So they don't really need to do any of that stuff. So it's going to be a pretty standard Monday through Friday bowl operation, which has never happened in my knowledge in the history of bowl practices here.
No, but I mean, the good news for us is we'll get availability, which means information. And what's headline 3, by the way? I don't want to burn it.
Headline 3 is going to be about young players.
Okay, so I don't want to.
You wrote these headlines.
Yeah, I just forgot.
ADD.
Okay, so I don't want to burn that up. But there's a lot. I mean, I'm just talking right now to our subscribers a little bit. I mean, we'll have a lot of information because we'll have availability, and there's going to be news, and there's going to be Rhule talking about players that we haven't heard a lot about. He's going to be talking about players we haven't heard a lot about going forward, which is good. Plus, it is a good bowl game.
Well, it's not official, but
pretty official, right?
Either
way, though, right?
Just people that are confused that just think it's still Nashville, but I'm telling you, nobody internally will tell you it's Nashville.
And either way, though, like just say it was Nashville. Who are you playing? Probably Vandy?
Both would be. Either one is great for the record. I think Vegas just being an indoor game.
Yeah,
a Super Bowl venue.
Yeah, with a lot of people there because there's going to be a
house.
Yeah, there's going to be a big crowd. So Sean, come on now. This is a big month for Nebraska. It is. Here's why. you ended it on a bad note. You got hammered twice. You don't want to get hammered 3 times.
Well, and what does Phil Snow and now Mike Eckler being involved, what does that look like in bowl month? Like how,
good question.
And you work with the guy, Bill Bush, who kind of had a similar role where he had to step in this type of role and simplify things and get the unit to play better and faster. And he did that.
You might see a bump.
Can Phil Snow simplify things to get this group to play better, or is it personnel and it is what it is?
Well, I think right now you would have to say it's a personnel issue.
Yeah, they're limited a little bit.
We've talked about it ad nauseum. We don't need to cover it. So what's Eckler's role? Is Eckler, the one thing about Eckler that bears watching is he was a great outside linebackers coach at Tennessee. Had a 3rd round draft pick. Had an all SEC player whose name is escaping me right now, but so would Eckler be a guy that the new DC would look at as a possible coach on that side of the ball, in addition to coaching special teams? He coached outside linebackers and special teams at Tennessee. Coach both positions.
Well, and I think a lot will depend on who the new hire is.
Yeah.
I mean, what the new hire wants. But there are also going to be people that want Mike Eckler. I mean, with what he did with special teams here.
You mean other teams?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, Let's like he'll be in demand. I mean, it's noticeable.
Yeah, which I was kind of, because of, I hope I can put this together. You can understand. I was kind of glad that Rhule announced he's coaching the defense, because helping coach the defense with Snow, because I think Mike wants to do that, and it may be a kind of
deal point.
Yeah, exactly.
Now the other thing, Sip, when practices begin, it should give us a fairly good idea of who's here and who's not, because I do think if you are going into the portal, guys have already been paid for December. So there's no incentive to kind of hold out until the end of the month. I do think you will know who's in and who's out across the roster.
So they get paid at the start of the month. If you were
I don't know who made that decision.
If you were the GM, would you change that?
I would.
I would too. You're getting paid at the end of the month.
It used to not be that way, is my understanding, but the money, you get paid before the month instead of after you do the work, which
that's not the
way.
It's a
great way to.
Anyway, so what you're saying is exactly right. We should know, and we're anticipating some movement. There'll be guys that go into the portal where people are like, oh God.
There's no money game. I don't expect it to be a money game with some guys where they hold out to get a check in the bank and then leave. Like, I think checks have hit for December. So at this point, we'll know who's going and who's not. And I'm sure a lot of it will, we know that there's been some exit interview type deals, whether it's been with GM Pat Stewart or head coach Matt Rhule. I'm sure the nature of those conversations will lead to some of these decisions.
Yep.
With guys. And
newsy December.
It's going to be busy. I mean, and it could get busy here we're taping right now around noon. It could get busy today still.
Yeah. Newsy.
So there's a lot to keep tabs on with the roster. Okay. Let's, before we take it to 3, StayHome.Care is our title sponsor. Great company. They're there for you, your family, your loved ones, to help you when you can't be there. Call them at 402-205-2233. Thanks to StayHome.Care. And we're also brought to you by Applebee's. Great Friday night. What are you going to do? Go watch some football and go into Applebee's. The Ultimate Trio is there right now. And with this app, you are the play caller. You pick 3 apps, 3 sauces for your Ultimate Trio. It's just $14.99 with over 80,000 combinations. Applebee's has something everyone will enjoy. Plus, enjoy half-price appetizers Monday through Friday, 3 to 6, and every day from 9 to close. Wings, mozzarella sticks, pretzels, you name it, half off. Perfect for game day. And also, we got the HuskerOnline special, the Steve Sipple Wing special. Mention Huskers to your server, and you'll get 6 free boneless wings per table, not per person, with a $10 purchase. So go on into Applebee's, tell them the HuskerOnline special. You'll get the 6 boneless wings. Spend $10. That's valid in Lincoln, North Platte, Scottsbluff, Kearney, Sidney, Grand Island, York, and Columbus.
Wings always sound good, and it doesn't even matter what time of day.
And if you get any pushback on the wing thing, just contact Steve Sipple.
Yeah. I'm not giving my cell phone out again, though.
You've done that before.
Yeah,
you're still getting phantom texts years later. Sipple, off topic here, but Sipple gave out his number on the air, just a moment of weakness on the ticket.
Yeah, I just almost did it as a joke. Like, come on, nobody's gonna call. I'll give it right now. And then boom. Oh my God.
And Sipple has conversations via text with people he doesn't even know.
Right.
And he doesn't know who's texting him.
I have people in my phone, like I'll mix people up. I kind of try to put it together in my head. I think it's this person, and I've been wrong a few times. So yeah, it gets really weird. But they have my number, the people that they know who we're talking about. I don't mind you texting.
You've had the same cell number for like over 20 years.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Yeah.
When I first met you, you had a cell plan with Cricket Wireless.
Yeah.
and you couldn't leave Lincoln. Like after you left Lincoln, you like lost service.
Let's be clear. That was like 01, right?
Yeah, it was like it just had come out.
Yeah.
And it was only available with
Lincoln. It seemed like a good deal to me.
You couldn't leave. Like once you left like 84th Street, you lost service. And I remember, Sipple's gone.
Phones weren't as big a deal back then.
No.
Now, people, they can still text me, but here's what I want to tell them since you're addressing it. I don't get back to everybody because there's just no way to do it.
No.
I can't spend that much time.
Yeah, because conversations, especially like with you and me, and it's 30 minutes, 45 minutes with a lot of people.
Yeah.
All right, let's take it to headline number 3. In defense of Rhule, depth chart is full of young guns ready to pop. And, we got kind of a good idea last year of the Bowl month. We saw players like Donovan Jones. We saw a number of younger players kind of pop that played in the Bowl that maybe you weren't expecting to.
Yeah. I mean, the headline says it. This is kind of a defense of Rhule. When you look, all you got to do, if you want to do a mental exercise this weekend, again, talking to Nebraska fans, just look at the 2 deep, find the 2 deep, and which, it's 3 or 4 players in some instances, but we're calling it the 2 deep. And look at the number of sophomores, redshirt freshmen, and freshmen. Some who are pretty well accomplished, but some that may be kind of ready to pop. It's really sort of an amazing exercise. Like on the defensive end, I'm not going to go through all, Sean, don't worry. But, I mean, just guys like David Huffkins, a redshirt freshman. Dylan Rogers is a sophomore. Shavers is a sophomore. Jacob Bauer, we haven't seen much of. Justin Rhett is a sophomore. These guys, Amari Sanders is a redshirt freshman. Guys we haven't heard a lot from. There's a lot of guys we have heard a lot from. Donovan Jones is going to take a big jump. But and then the offensive line, it's really a discussion with Preston Tamua, redshirt freshman, and Machachak, sophomore, Sam Sledge, Jake Peters.
And
all these young guys.
He's battled some injury stuff.
Machachak?
Yeah, and that's why he maybe hasn't been as prevalent. But I know they like him, and obviously Gibson Pyle, before he got hurt, was somebody that, I mean, if he was available and healthy, Gibson Pyle could start this bowl game.
Right. So what I'm saying, Sean, is the list of guys like that is so long that we can't even cover it all in the show. Like Rhule does have a point about when he always plays that youth card. There's a lot of young, promising talent. If you're a Rhule defender, which there's a lot of, obviously, Rhule has a lot of support. That's where I'd start it. There's a lot of young guys on this roster that their best days are ahead of them. We've seen a lot of them already, especially up front on defense. Petchak, Winery. Winery's a redshirt freshman. I would be sometimes I think I would be kind of frustrated if I were Rhule, and there's this impatience out there. It's like, look at some of these guys we got. Just name 3. Petchak, Winery, and Keona Davis.
I think the hard thing is when you don't see them playing in games or hear about them in practices.
But we do see those guys playing in games. Winery, Keona Davis, and Petchak.
But they haven't made a lot of big plays yet.
No.
I mean, so I think that's what last year, that was the surprise of the bowl game, to see some of these guys, even, I mean, your favorite player, Jordan Ochoa.
Yeah, which I don't know what happened.
Never materialized this year, but there were some random stories last year like that you're like, ooh, okay.
Right. So Yes, I don't know. It's hard to preach patience to people. People don't want to hear it, but man, there's just up and down that roster. There's guys that their best days are ahead of them, and they look. And some of them have played already and look pretty good. Donovan Jones is probably the best example, right? You maybe Guthrie, you'd say.
Yeah, those were guys that played in the bowl. Did Guthrie play in that bowl game last year a little bit?
I think so. Donovan Jones did. And Donovan Jones played well.
Yeah, and maybe at receiver, Quinn Clark
Yeah.
and Keelan Smith.
Yeah.
Hey, Quinn Clark particularly did flash at times this year.
Great examples, though. Those are two, and even Cortez Mills, you would say, right?
You'd like to see more of him.
Yeah. But those are all young guys on the roster that you think, okay, they're all right.
And with the roster kind of continuing to get smaller, I think that's a good thing for reps during these bowl practices.
Yeah, 100%.
Rhule went with it, but I don't necessarily know if he was, managing 140, 150 guys is just not normal anymore in college football. And it's hard to operate it.
I mean, Sean, you want to be careful in that discussion because we embraced that for so
we did.
long.
But the game changed with rev share, NIL, FCS scholarships. There's more things now that limited the pool of players.
But we always used to talk about how those walk-ons fortified the roster and gave you this sort of mentality, this kind of backbone of the team, would show the scholarship players what it meant to be a Husker. So you lose that a little bit.
But now you've got that generation of kids that never really grew up seeing Nebraska be what it was.
Right.
So it's a different era of kids.
Yeah.
That's
a good point.
It's and again, it changed when the FCS, when all the Dakota teams and like Northern Iowa went FCS from Division II. That's when a lot of it changed.
They could come in and get Nebraska.
Well,
guys.
they went from having like 25 scholarships to 62. And that was back, Osborne was staunchly against UNO moving its football program up to FCS.
So back to the bowl prepper. It's vital. It's a vital December for the program because of the opportunity for guys to get better.
And it's just 2 weeks in Lincoln. They're gonna have 2 weeks of practice. I mean, it's like, let's not like act like they're gonna be practicing like for a month. I mean, it's 2 weeks in Lincoln, and then they're gonna have about a week in the bowl site.
But you would say those are very important weeks,
right? And maybe
you got to maximize.
Without TJ Lateef, though, you just wonder,
right, what
the offense looks like without maybe Emmett Johnson or without TJ Lateef, without Dylan Rhule.
Yep, I know you definitely wonder. So people understand Lateef is not available to practice Monday. I don't know. Rhule said he'll probably be ready. I wish I had the quote for me. He probably be ready for the bowl. That's the plan. It kind of
hamstrings are tricky.
Yeah,
it's a muscle, and muscles are tricky. It's different than like a sprain of an ankle, like. Because I've seen guys that have had hamstring problems their whole football career.
So again, a guy like Davila it's a really important time for him because he's going to get a lot of reps. Now Gramstad's number 2.
Yeah, Gramstad would probably operate the top offense right now.
Yeah, in Lateef's absence, but Davila will get a lot of snaps. Well, you heard Matt Rhule say that he saw some young offensive linemen and said, "Hey, these next couple weeks, these next few weeks are the biggest of your life." That's what I loved when Matt said that because you need that urgency right now.
All right. Well, let's
Sean, you need that urgency right now.
I'm running the show here. You look at me like I'm supposed to be looking at you, but I'm trying to run the show here.
You need urgency.
I'm listening to you. You're giving me the look. Are you even listening to me?
No, I'm not.
I am.
No, you're being sensitive.
I'm listening to you, Sip. All right. Before we go to headline 4, we're brought to you by our title sponsor, StayHome.Care.
Yeah.
Call them at 402-205-2233 to learn what they can do for you, your family, your loved ones. We're also brought to you by Gametime. And look, it's postseason volleyball. It's Nebraska basketball. They've got the game on Sunday against Creighton. You got volleyball on the NCAA tournament. You got a bowl game coming.
Good Lord.
You've got the Zach Bryant concert coming up
April 25th
in Lincoln. No better place to search the ticket market than Gametime. And they make it easy. They tell you what tickets are priced below market, what's a good deal. And you can see that Creighton, Nebraska basketball game. Wow. I mean, the nosebleeders are going for $44 in the 300 level. Lower bowl is 100. You know, it's a good gauge here. Everything in the lower bowl is basically 180 and under. It looks like there's one ticket for 118 in the far section 101. So like it will tell you, all right, that's a good deal. Let's get those tickets. Let's go to the Creighton game on Sunday. And we've got a deal with Husker Online. Download the Gametime ticket app, use the promo code ON3, and you'll get $20 off your first order and purchase on the Gametime app. Thanks again to Gametime, your place to look for the best deals on tickets. Well, speaking of that Nebraska Creighton game, let's go to headline 4 and let's welcome in Robin Rochette as he is joining us here. Very Christmassy scene behind Robin. I got the stockings, Robin.
It's extremely festive over here. Basically, as soon as Thanksgiving dinner ended at our house, the Christmas decorations went up. So really any background I chose in this house would have some sort of Christmas decor. So I'm glad
a kid
to
running behind you.
To you guys.
Where's Nora?
Oh, upstairs, probably coloring in her Taylor Swift coloring book right now.
Well, let's get into it, Robin.
Okay, let's talk ball, Coach.
Let's talk ball.
Let's talk about Coach.
You've got a big one on Sunday, 4:00. It could be a packed house, Nebraska Creighton. This is one of the bigger home games Nebraska's had in terms of meaning because of what it could do to the rest of the way. A potential 11-0 non-conference record is on the table. How do you measure this matchup with Creighton going into Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, it's big in a lot of ways. I mean, obviously it's different from previous years. And like, there's been times where like Nebraska had to have the Creighton win because they didn't have anything else on their non-conference resume. Well, this one's a little different where you beat Oklahoma on a neutral site. You beat New Mexico, Kansas State on a neutral site. So you've already built up some equity with your non-conference resume that makes this Creighton game not an absolute must just in terms of a resume standpoint. However, it's the Creighton rivalry. This is a massive game for the state. It's a massive game for the fan base. And like you said, Sean, it's the opportunity to go a perfect 11-0. You win this one, then you're basically coasting to a perfect non-conference record. And that carries a lot of value. I interviewed James Fletcher, bracketologist for my Tunnel Talk on Thursday. And he mentioned that. He was like, that's something that the committee is going to look at. You know, when you're weighing resume and they see, whoa, you guys swept through your non-con. And then, you know, as long as you're able to keep your head above water in league play, you're basically got a path right there to get to the NCAA tournament. So it's always a big game. And even though it might not have the individual resume weight that maybe it's carried in previous years for Nebraska, it's still a massive opportunity to, one, take 3 out of 4 from your in-state rivals, something you haven't been able to say for a long, long time. And then 2, to finally beat them in Lincoln again. It's been since 2018 since they beat Creighton in PBA. And then just the momentum that you would build going into those first 2 league games, Wisconsin on Wednesday, at Illinois next weekend. I mean, it's you just go down the list of why this is an important game, even if it is a little bit different circumstances than previous years.
Yeah, and James Fletcher has Nebraska on a 9 seed. You're seeing 8 seeds, projections, 9 seed projection. Now I want to ask you though, Rob, about this matchup. You're good about assessing matchups. What's this matchup look like, player to player?
I mean, it's kind of you look at the analytics, like just going to the Ken Palm kind of breakdown, it's pretty even. Like Creighton's weaknesses match up with Nebraska's weaknesses. Their strengths match up with their strengths. I think the difference with this one is that for the first time in 4 years, Nebraska doesn't have to worry about Ryan Kalkbrenner in the middle. And so that changes their approach with how they, 1, can attack the paint, and then 2, how they have to defend the paint. And I'm curious to see, you saw them overcommit to having to defend the post on every possession when you played a big of Kalkbrenner's caliber. Now they don't have to worry about that as much. So Creighton was able to burn them a few times from 3-point range. Now Nebraska is maybe a little bit more equipped to defend the perimeter better than they have been. And like always, it's going to come down to, can Nebraska make their threes, and 2, get off to a good start? Their record at home right now has been full of really slow, really sloppy, choppy starts at PBA, which I don't know how that happens, especially with the home crowd they get. Having that sold out crowd on Sunday, they have to play off of that. They have to get the emotion going on their side right away on the opening tip. And that starts with hitting your threes early. You can't go 1 of 8 or 2 of 10 or whatever they've been doing, and just try to force things from the 3-point line, because Creighton's, they're too good offensively to just ease your way into it. So a fast start is absolutely imperative to capitalize on that electric crowd. And then also, when Nebraska's hitting their threes, they are about as difficult as any team in the Big Ten to defend, because all 5 players on the floor can hit threes. And then with Rink Mast operating at the top of the key, that's going to cause a lot of mismatches for Creighton defensively. But that only happens if you're hitting at a consistent rate from behind the arc. So hit your threes, get off to a fast start, and then, be able to close out and get your rotations crisp defensively and not let Creighton get hot from 3-point range on the other side.
Robin, obviously in a non-conference, they've played a lot of guys, especially in these bye games. What do you think with the season out? I mean, will Fred play an 8-man rotation? I mean, what will the rotation look like in a game that actually has more meaning in a season now out of the question?
Yeah, I mean, it'll probably look fairly similar to what you saw against USC Upstate. Really, they didn't do anything differently with their rotation outside of playing Kendall Blue a little bit earlier. I think he checked in at the under 12 timeout in the first half, which was the earliest he's played in a game yet this season. But he only played 7 or 8 minutes in that game. I think the real domino is that you play Cale Jacobson more, you play Braden Frager more, and have those guys just have a bigger workload to replace what Connor was doing. And Connor was only playing 14, 15 minutes a game. So it's not like you're replacing a 25, 30 a minute guy. So that isn't as big just from a rotation standpoint. But what is big is that Connor was one of your most experienced Big Ten players. I mean, he and Sam Hoiberg had played as many Big Ten minutes as anybody on this roster. And so just having that veteran experience and then his leadership, his voice, not to be able to have that on the court. I mean, you'll get what you can get from him on the sideline, but just not having a guy like that that's been through about everything there is to go through in the grind of Big Ten play, that's where I think the real, the consequences of this injury. I think that Nebraska will be able to replace his minutes and his production, okay, but it's the kind of intangibles that Connor brought, where you had a guy that, and I'll give him credit too, he was shooting really poorly from 3-point range. He was 25% on the season, so he was really struggling. But to his credit, he was finding other ways to score. He was being as aggressive off the dribble and getting to the rim as we've seen probably in his career. So it's a loss, no doubt about it. It's not one that I think is going to change the trajectory of the season, but I think the real points where you're going to really feel his loss are when it's crunch time and adversity starts to hit in games like Sunday, in games like your Big Ten openers next week. Just having a guy that's been there and done that as much as he has, and not having that voice on the court when it matters the most.
Not to get too far into the weeds here, but you do have the possibility of a couple bigs getting healthy and coming back. What is the status of those guys? I don't want to try one of their names, and there's Leo Curtis.
Come on. Try.
No, I'm not trying it. I tried already. You got a couple bigs that are coming back. Could they get back pretty soon?
Okay, well, the guys you're talking about are Ugnius Yarosevicius and Leo Curtis.
Yeah.
Leo is there's a real chance that he could be back on Sunday, and he's missed. He got hurt against Maryland Eastern Shore, a calf strain, and then has not played since. He was questionable in the Oklahoma game in Sioux Falls. He went through warm-ups, didn't play, and he's been out since. So getting him back, I mean, it's, he's still a true freshman kind of working his way into the thing, but he's still 7'1", and he's still a body in the post that can help spare some minutes and workload off Rink Mast and off Bear K. If those guys get in foul trouble, whatever, that's just one more option that can give you post depth. So there's immediate value that way. And like I said, if he's not back by Sunday for the Creighton game, then I think that Wisconsin Big Ten opener on Wednesday night is a even more realistic possibility. Now with Oogie, he is still on track with his recovery. He has not played since the Midland exhibition game with a kind of lingering back injury that he's been trying to fight through. And like Rink Mast, they've been extremely cautious with him because backs are so tricky. They don't want to push it too far and risk a longer term setback. So I think all along they've kind of viewed late December as kind of a target return point. And I'm looking at that December 21st game against North Dakota as probably your most realistic, earliest return date. Now, what's interesting is what happens if he's not ready by December 21st or by the December 30th game against New Hampshire? Then, maybe the conversation changes a little bit, because then he's missed half the season.
Yeah.
And then are you worried about, is he ever going to be fully healthy this season? If not, and they start to worry about just kind of his immediate availability, would a red shirt be in the cards where you carry him over to next year? So, I mean, that's something that is still to play out. But as of now, the plan is very much to play him this year. And as long as his recovery stays on track, which it has throughout this process, he will be back by the new year, hopefully by December 21st.
All right. Well, follow Robin Washett. He'll have the best coverage of Nebraska Creighton on Sunday. Robin, looking forward to seeing you over at the arena.
It should be a doozy. I've got I did 3 interviews with 1620 affiliates yesterday, so it's Creighton week.
You made
all the Omaha people want you on. It's Creighton week.
God, Rob. Hey, just save me a seat next to you.
Okay, hey, there's always a spot for you.
Okay.
Oh, he has a seat. Who's our intern? Who you got? Sam with you, or who's gonna be with you?
Unclear. I haven't checked the intern chart. It's either Sam or Joseph. So
all right.
Rob, you're the best.
We need to triple staff. We'll triple staff it. We got it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks to Robin Washett for joining us here on Husker Online Headlines. Again, we're brought to you by our title sponsor of StayHome.Care. Phenomenal company that's there for you, your loved ones, to help you in times of need when you can't be there for them. They can do all the simple chores, tasks, rides, things that are really important that you don't always maybe have the time in your life to provide those services for a friend or family member. Call them at 402-205-2233. It's that time of year, especially with the holidays and roads getting bad. You need somebody there to help. And that's what StayHome.Care can do for you and your family. All right, let's take it into headline 5 and odds and ends. And as we were in the interview with Robin Washett, our own Pete Nakos of On3 broke the news that Penn State is in the steps of finalizing a deal to name Iowa State's Matt Campbell their head coach.
You know what? They've gone through sort of a hell to get to that point. 8 people, basically. They've cycled through 8 coaches. That's not a bad ending point, right?
No, and his buyout is relatively low. It's only $2 million.
Not like Pat Kraft maybe saving himself here, right? Because they're one more no away from, then you wonder about Kraft.
This is like Steve Peterson, the sequel right now. But I would say you're getting a better guy than Bill Callahan at that time. In terms of the proven college coach.
Yeah, for sure. God, that's an interesting conversation because I like Bill.
But I'm saying in terms of the last, Campbell's been in Iowa State a long time.
Yeah, it's hard to argue your point as much as I want to. It's hard to. You can't. Campbell's done a great job at Iowa State. Bill didn't have a great run at Nebraska.
He's run a business with far less resources and made it very successful.
So why wasn't he on the initial? Well, we don't know that he wasn't on the initial list. Why did it take so long to get to him?
It's a great question. And you think about Campbell, he has turned down other opportunities over the years.
Numerous.
And I always thought jobs that he'd look at are Nebraska, Notre Dame, Michigan, Ohio State, and now Penn. It had to be like a very good I felt like he was a Midwestern kind of guy. Isn't he from Ohio originally?
Well, he coached in Ohio. His name has how often has his name been brought up at Nebraska, would you say? Every time a job opens? He's 46 years old, by the way. He's 46 years old. He has been the head coach at Iowa State since 2016. Okay. He was at Toledo, Sean, from 2012 to 2015. And that's where he kind of burst onto the scene. Toledo was 35-15 under him, 24-8 in the MAC. And then, he threw that 11-win season at Iowa State in 2024. Which, come on, 11 wins at Iowa State was there's a time that we never would have dreamed that was going to happen, right? And he's thrown a 9-win
I mean, he won a
season.
Fiesta Bowl. He beat Oregon in the Fiesta Bowl.
He's 72-55 at Iowa State. He's 8-4 this year. He was 7-6 in 2023 and 4-8 in 2022. So his star kind of faded a little bit, right?
Yeah, he was 1-8 in the Big 12 in 2022.
Star faded a little bit.
Surprisingly, though, he's had great success against Iowa lately too. I mean,
Beat Iowa this year.
Yeah. So they're in. I don't know. I think this could end up working out. Now there was also this like leaked audio.
What was that? Tell me about that.
So
I've just heard about
held a meeting with the players, and there's some people that thought it might have been like one of those AI things. But let me pull this up on our board here kind of like a Bo Pelini leaked audio. Hold on, keep talking here. I want to.
So more leaked audio.
Yeah.
If you're a leader of if you're an AD, a coach, wouldn't you be very leery of speaking to a team anymore in that kind of setting? Because somebody could be taping it.
Or, we've seen some of these meetings where they actually make the players turn their phones in.
Which that's what I would do.
Yeah, like in the audio, though, he said how much he really hates Oregon, calls them soft and weirdos, goes off on them multiple times. I believe there was a part where he accused Michigan of being cheaters. I mean, just all.
He wasn't kind to Ohio State either.
Again, I don't know in an AD role how that ever would go off well.
I don't either. Private or public.
Especially when the search for your coach is not going well.
Yeah. That surreptitious, though, the surreptitious taping of a speaker is, I don't know why that. Sean, I'll ask you this. Why is that so acceptable to people?
And it's 100% real. There's people like, oh, this has got to be AI.
Nope, it's not. That's the most curious thing to me is why it's okay for someone to leak that audio. Do it. I mean, the act of taping it secretly and then leaking.
Kind of as you would say, chicken.
Yeah, bleep.
But here's the summary of it was a 36-minute meeting.
Oh boy, that's strong.
Kraft is a dude and only cares about winning. Struggles of getting kids to play in the middle of nowhere in Pennsylvania. And how they want to strategize and overcome equals getting back to becoming a developmental place to get you paid in NIL, but not really paid in NIL, but not really paid by the NFL. And we agree, like going to State College, and it had been since 2017 since I've been there.
Okay, so it's a good discussion. Somebody said to me today, by any metric, it's a top 15 job. Okay, but would you agree with that? Oh, do we have some spillage? Hold on, we're all right. This is live. We have some spillage. We'll get back to this.
Cranium spill on aisle 1 here. Sorry about that, guys.
You got it?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, Sean,
you've done this before, so
yeah,
you're laughing at me now.
No, I'm not. By any metric. Okay, I had a great conversation with someone today. He said, simple, by any metric, it's a top 15 job. And I said, well, how about we do this? Throw out metrics. Because you've been there. If I were to put myself in the shoes of all of these coaches that have been considered, I can see why you wouldn't take the job, because partly of what you said, partly because of inherent expectations that have escalated after firing a guy who had the record that James Franklin had. Is it a great job? I think it's worth debate. I don't think it's a great job.
Anyone that says that, I'd question, have they been there?
Right.
Have they been to the airport?
Yeah. Have you been there?
We fly in a lot of airports together, and it is about the most mom and pop airport we've been to anyway.
Now, just so we're clear, you consider that a factor in a job?
Well, bringing in recruits and
right.
people, it makes the Lincoln Airport look like LAX.
Yeah, it does. It does. Lincoln Airport's done a really good job.
I
would say I would say this. Lincoln Airport has done a fabulous job of modernizing. State College Airport has not even tried to modernize.
No.
I mean, you feel like it's 1979 there.
And you exit off the runway there. You don't even have like a gate.
Right. So I get on one hand why people would say that stock phrase you hear. It's a top 10, top 15 job by any metric. I don't know. It's not. That's an unwieldy job. I think it can get unwieldy, and I think Kraft made a horrible mistake, a Nebraska-like mistake, in firing Franklin.
And he says, okay, more from Kraft here.
And this is
a summary of Kraft's audio. Yeah, the leaked audio. He talks about how Ohio State is the king and it's easier to bring guys there because of the being in a city. NIL, Brian Hartline with the receivers. Different ways NIL is used at top schools. Most pay 60 players and pay top guys a ton. James Franklin was paying 103 players on a more even rate of spreading out the money, which we've seen. I mean, Nebraska's kind of gone back and forth on that, where I think initially there was a thought that they wanted to spread it out, but I think they're going to shift more to paying just the dudes more. Vision for the future and being so close to knocking down the door. Kraft makes fun of and hates Oregon. Kraft calls Michigan losers and cheaters. Kraft and players agreeing that our James Franklin pitfalls recently have not been paying the young studs, even if they make mistakes. Howard, Denmark, etc. Kraft said Iowa's 90-year-old QB ran for over 100+ yards on us. How is that possible? Gronowski calls him a 90-year-old quarterback.
Why would he do this?
Kraft said defense fell apart after Tony went down and loves Dom, but got to let young guys get in. Kraft and Terry seem to be on similar pages. Yikes.
Yes.
I'm glad we don't have to cover that. That's all I'll say.
Me too.
Like, I'll never forget when the Bo Pelini leaked audio actually got out.
Which one? There's two.
The Lincoln North Star meeting audio.
Okay, that was the second time.
Yeah.
That was the second batch.
That
was the second batch.
I was at my daughter's Christmas program.
Great.
It was like, it was during like this week in December, and
one
player leaked it out.
Yep. And then the first go round was, what was that?
The dead spin. They waited until Nebraska lost to UCLA, and then they found audio that was 2 years old and released it.
Right. It was almost surreal that day. It was almost like it really wasn't happening. I'll give you an example of surreal. I'll give you an example of surreal. When I finally got a hold of Bo that day, we had to get comment. He issued no comment, but in talking to him, he wasn't bothered by it. That was the most interesting part of that initial, the Deadspin report, the stuff he said about the fans leaving. I said, so you're not, I said, this is a firestorm, Bo. And he said, I meant every word I said.
And it was over 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It was
what he had said.
Yeah.
Right. But he was not flustered by it. He said, I'm fine. He goes, I meant it all.
I remember we all waited outside trying to get Sean Eichhorst as he left the building. And then like his people had him leave a different way. Sean Eichhorst was pretty shifty. He knew how to.
So I wonder what the coverage is like up there. I mean, you know what? We don't have to wonder. We've gone through that stuff. We've gone through protracted coaching search, leaked audio. We've been through that mess. And now Kraft is doing that stuff. I would say beware, Pat Kraft.
He's walking a tightrope.
Right. I'd be very careful.
And below him is a pool of sharks.
But here he goes and finds Matt Campbell. Not a bad conclusion, right? All's well that ends well.
I would take Campbell over the BYU guy.
Yeah. I mean, it's right. Sataki's 11.
Yeah.
I mean, those are 11 win, back-to-back 11 win seasons.
But his style is to recruit, LDS faith, a lot of, the blueprint of BYU. You can't really do that at Penn State.
No, I'm not saying you're wrong. I just think I don't say it quite as forcefully as you do. I think Campbell's a good hire.
I think he fits that. I mean, I don't know. For where they were at, it's a pretty good hire.
Oh, yeah, it is. Like I said, Campbell's star's faded.
All right. Other odds and ends.
Yes.
Chris Kleinman retires.
Yeah.
And Colin Klein is now the Kansas State head coach, former Kansas State quarterback. That story, I was talking to Derek Young, our colleague at K-State Online, and he said literally Colin Klein was walking onto the plane to accept the job to be South Florida's head coach. And he
gotta be kidding
me.
me.
Got the call and turned around.
So Alex Golish wasn't the first pick at UCF, at USF. Alex,
I thought Golish left to go to Auburn.
My bad. My bad. Who? So
I don't know who South Florida hired, but
oh yeah, I'm sorry, I had a moment there.
Golish left to go to Auburn.
Thank you for rescuing
and
me.
Klein was going to be taking that job, and he was literally walking on the plane.
Hartline took the USF job. Brian Hartline took the USF job.
And he turned around and got the call, and it got out, and it was not supposed to get out on signing day, God forbid. I mean, here's Chris Kleiman trying to announce his class, get the bowl game things figured out, and that news broke. So imagine that day in Manhattan.
Imagine that day in the Hartline household. Okay, so they were going to hire Colin Klein first, USF.
Yes.
Then it went to Hartline. Brian Hartline took that job, but he wasn't the first.
And that's a good hire, though.
Yeah, I think Hartline's good. Very similar guys, late 30s. Both of them in their late 30s, both offensive guys. So it makes sense. It makes sense that the AD apparently had he had a picture in his mind of what he wanted, because those two guys are very similar. Wow. Klein was headed to USF.
And there's some questions with the roster at Kansas State now.
It's wild.
They've already lost Dylan Edwards. He moved on. But Avery Johnson, their quarterback, what does that look like moving forward with Colin Klein? Lincoln Cure, the 5-star tight end, who's the stud player on that roster, has already basically said he's all in. So I do think they made the correct hire to probably preserve the roster in Manhattan.
Emmett's headed to the NFL.
Oh, that's out now?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
Robbins just asked if he should write it. I don't know what we
Yes. I'll tell him right now.
Okay, I'll keep talking. Wow.
So Emmett Johnson, breaking news, off to the NFL.
Yeah. Not necessarily surprising at all, right?
No. I mean, again, bowl practice starts Monday. Final payments have already been hit on December 1 or whatever it was. So I think for him, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and there's no metric that really would suggest he would have come back other than maybe money.
Right. They would have had to put a big number in front of him, which they probably wouldn't. He might not do it anyway. Right. He might not come back anyway.
Did he make a statement? I don't even see it. So, yeah, he made his own statement on Twitter right now. So I'm gonna make a tweet here. Sorry, guys. When you do live shows, this stuff happens, and just bear with us, folks.
Just do it. So yeah, not surprising. But here's the thing about that: it does affect Nebraska, obviously, in a game against a team like Utah. I mean, you're going to be down your best player.
It's going to be Isaiah Mosey.
Yeah, or Mekhi Nelson.
But I would say Mosey. Yeah, I feel like today, if I had to guess, is going to get a lion's share. But who's the other guy after those two?
Well, Quentin Ives, Connor Booth. I mean, those guys are in that picture, right?
Who's the other guy?
Quentin Ives, Connor Booth. Those are the other guys in the picture. Kenneth Williams is a running back you can go to. Those are the guys. I mean, Sean, if you're those guys, I hope what you are thinking is, okay, all right, now here's my chance to establish myself as RB1, right? That's the beauty of December when you're a bowl team.
Hat tip to Emmett Johnson. And if you're watching the show, headline 1, we talked about Emmett Johnson. Well, headline 5, he's gone.
Yeah.
We're not going to redo headline 1.
That's the way December goes.
Yeah.
That's the way December goes.
But big news.
Yeah. Wow, that is kind of awkward though do we need to put a disclaimer on our show?
Yeah, Megan will do that.
Yeah.
And if they stick through the whole 5 headlines, they'll find out.
Yeah. So there'll be we'll have other personnel news, I'm sure.
And volleyball this weekend, there's been some good matches in the NCAA tournament. Creighton got pushed to 5 games in Omaha by Northern Colorado.
Okay.
So
Northern Colorado.
Nebraska should be obviously okay in their draw.
Yeah.
But
any draw.
I mean, if they were playing in the Olympics, they'd probably win a few games.
They would. I mean, really, what you're watching with Nebraska is, I mean, up to the Final Four anyway. Will they lose a single set? You would guess not.
And they want, Becca Alex said they want Texas.
Oh, did she say that? Wow. Nebraska's a very confident group. As we've mentioned before, the thing I've noticed most about them is they have a lot of fun. They don't seem like there's, they have a big target on their back, but they don't seem like there's pressure. They don't act like they're under any kind of pressure. I think that what I'm suggesting is that chemistry's through the roof good in that program. They have great chemistry. And you give that new head coach, Danny Busboom Kelly, a lot of credit for that.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up because we got to get on our phones.
Mm-hmm.
We got to call people. For Steve Sipple, I'm Sean Callahan. Thanks for joining us on a breaking news version of Husker Online Headlines. We'll be back on Monday with another headline show. I'm sure there'll be a lot to discuss on Monday morning. Everybody have a great weekend.